get us started.
Who controls the black bloc anarchists? Government decides who protests at the G20. Violent anarchists allowed to smash up buildings despite announcing target in advance. Yet anti-poverty group barred from protesting. Paul Joseph Watson, PrisonPlanet.com, Thursday, April 2nd, 2009. The British authorities seem to have had little problem with allowing a group of violent black bloc anarchists to smash up the RBS building while provoking police yesterday, despite the group announcing their target in advance. Yet a legitimate anti-poverty organization has had its accreditation to protest at the G20 removed on the orders of Downing Street. This once again underscores the completely undemocratic power of the government to decide who is allowed to protest against them and who is not. When you have to get permission from the government to exercise a God-given right, as in China or Russia, then we know we are already living in a police state. The freedom to protest is not one that has to be accredited by the state. A license to protest, as it were, is an innate human right. Apparently, if you wear black hoods and scarves, smash up private property, and provoke police, then it's absolutely fine, and you'll be left largely untouched. But, God forbid, if you're a middle-of-the-road anti-poverty group that just wants to peaceably march down the street, an anti-poverty group expressed outrage after its accreditation to attend Thursday's G27 was suddenly withdrawn on Wednesday, reports The Telegraph. The World Development Movement said it had no idea why the decision was taken, but claimed it was on the orders of 10 Downing Street. The group, which was part of last weekend's huge and peaceful Put the People's First Alliance, which held a rally in London, said the Foreign Office received a note from 10 Downing Street telling it to revoke the accreditation. Benedict Southworth, the group's director, said that the decision was part of the government's plan to stage manage events and prevent voices of dissent and disagreement from being heard. The black bloc anarchist assault on the Royal Bank of Scotland building yesterday certainly had an air of being stage managed. The target was announced in advance. The authorities knew the building was a prime target, and yet it was the only one on the street not to be boarded up. A cafe across the street was boarded up, and yet the RBS building was left completely vulnerable to attack. Cue a relatively small gaggle of black bloc anarchists, followed by a similarly sized press corps to photograph every angle of smashed window, and you have the makings of a stage-managed event to instantly be consumed by the watching middle classes, thus enlisting their support for a police-state crackdown. In this instance, the police stood back and let them do pretty much whatever they liked, which is highly suspicious within itself.
Well, if you looked at the video of it, the guy's busting in the window. There's about 150 cameras on him, just filming his face, seeing him do it. But I agree totally. I'm ashamed that I have to go down and get a permit for us to have a protest on April 15th that goes against everything I believe in. The only reason I'm doing it is there's going to be a lot of people hopefully show up, and I don't want to have any conflict with the law. But my right has been reduced to a privilege, and you better believe I'm going to be screaming that the whole time.
And this is a classic move, and I'd like you to get your comments on this, by the elite to put provocateurs within the movement to do violent things to initiate a police response.
Yeah, they've been caught at it time and time again. It's been documented, and then it hurts the movement, plus it gives the police justification to go in and beat them down, investigate them, do whatever they want to. So it's a classic move on the part of the establishment, and it's been documented, done over and over again. And this is just another example of it.
We had the Security and Prosperity Partnership protests in Canada 2 years ago. Quebec provincial authorities were forced to admit that 3 rock-wielding, black mask-wearing anarchists were in fact police infiltrators used to gather information on the protesters. And we also had at the 1999 World Trade Organization protests in Seattle, same thing. Black bloc anarchists were completely infiltrated by provocateurs by the authorities.
It would appear we're going to have Mr. Chapman on at 10:15, so let's do this Brian, before we come up on this next break, go ahead and intro the Adam Kokesh, and then in our last segment in this hour, we'll take phone calls. We'd planned to do that the last 30 minutes of next hour, but things being what they are, yeah. So go ahead with that, and then we're going to play a video of him. This gentleman's going to be our guest next week, so we wanted to give you a little idea of where he's coming from. So go ahead with that, Brian.
Yes, Adam Kokesh will be our guest next week during the first hour. Of course, Alan Watt will be with us during the second hour. Adam Kokesh was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps Reserves and is currently an activist with Iraq Veterans Against the War. Now we're going to play an amazing speech that Adam gave last July at the Revolution March. Go ahead with that, Farron.
It has been said that when in the course of human events, that oppression so revolts its subjects that it becomes necessary to alter or abolish the means of that tyranny. Is it that time when our Bill of Rights is defiled every day? When our adventures abroad threaten our security at home? When the Federal Reserve keeps our free nation enslaved by debt? When the people of the world tremble under the thumb of corporate imperialism? And now, our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time? The time is now. The threat is clear. The bands of tyranny are tightening around America, and it is our duty to resist. As empowered patriots, let us take stock of our commitment to the ideals upon which this country was founded. America without her freedoms is like a body without a soul. The challenge before the freedom movement is no less than to bring about a revolution of values, inspire a renaissance of American politics, and breathe new life into the tortured body of our nation. We will meet that challenge with courage and love, and as always, we the people will prevail. Troops of the Revolutionary Army in the winter of 1776, Thomas Paine said, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. As Iraq Veterans Against the War, we are resisting an occupation we once risked our lives for. We swore to support and defend the Constitution, but we found out the hard way that the greatest enemies of the Constitution are not to be found in the sands of some far-off land, but rather right here at home."
All right, that was Adam Kokesh, and he will be joining us next week. We have got about 3 minutes before we come up on the break, so in our next segment, we would like to take phone calls from you, the listeners. If you'd like to comment on any of this, anything else that you have in mind, if you'd like to comment on Easter, our phone number, now we've got a different number on this show than on the rest of them here on WSIC and WDSL. You will be calling 1-866-986-6397. And we'll be coming up on a break in just a couple minutes. After the break, we would love to have your phone calls. Again, 1-866-986-6397. It's actually 1-866-986-NEWS. So if you'd like to call in with your comments here, we're broadcasting on the Liberty News Radio Network here at WSIC Studios, 1400 WDSL 1520. And again, we'd like for you to email us on air at realnewsradio.com. We're planning our own tea party, April 15th, noon. Next week I will be able to give you the specifics, but tentatively we are planning it for the Civic Center. We would like to get Harb, Dave, Al, Keith, Dave, everyone, Flintlock if you're listening. We Are Change, North Carolina will be there. WeAreChangeNC.com. So we'd like to get everyone to join in. Let's really show them that we are sick and tired of it. We have had enough. We are sick of the oppression. We are sick of the tyranny. Our government no longer represents us. We have been reduced to mere serfs, to peasants. The boot of tyranny is on our face, and we've had enough of it. I mean, does this economic meltdown by design? Your 401k has been decimated. You've been thrown out of work. Your currency's being devalued, and on and